today? Yeah, today was an interesting day. I was at ShopRite and I happened to see that they had these lovely lamb shanks. They were already split on sale. So I picked up some lamb shanks. I already had some homemade beef stock. I've got some porcini mushrooms. I've got carrots, onions, and celery. Salt and pepper, a little garlic powder, onion powder, some herbs, a little black pepper, a little red wine for deglazing, and a little bit of flour that I'm going to dredge these lamb shanks in and get them browned. So what are we making? We're making braised lamb shanks. Now, I know a lot of people like to say, well, it's lamb ossobuco. No, it's not. Ossobuco is veal. Well, I guess you can make ossobuco out of any shank, I suppose. But one of the other critical differences is I'm not using a brown sauce. I'm going to just use beef stock. So it's technically not an ossobuco, but it's going to be delicious because this is going to braise in the oven for, I don't know, a couple hours until it's fork tender. And all of these flavors are going to come together and it's going to be wonderful. So I'm going to just season the lamb with salt and pepper, dredge them in the flour, get them browned, put them aside, saute the vegetables, deglaze with a little red wine, put it all together, throw it in the oven, and a few hours later, voila, we're going to have braised lamb shank, and it's going to be awesome. So let's get going, huh? Okay, so we're going to turn that flame on about there. That sound is the oven is preheated. And we're gonna just sear the lamb in small batches. I don't want to overcrowd the pot. So as soon as that oil gets hot, all right, it looks like that oil is hot enough. Let's do our first batch of lamb. See how I've seasoned it with salt and pepper, and I've put a little bit of, I've dredged them in flour. And that flour is going to act as a thickening agent later on. All right, so we're not ready to turn them yet. I just want to show you that they are sizzling nicely. I haven't turned them at all yet. They're sizzling nicely in that Dutch oven. And after this batch comes out, I'll put the other batch in. But I'm going to brown them on all sides. You'll see. Okay, it's turning time. Oh, look at that, how nice. I'm just going to turn it. Like I said, I want to get it browned on all sides. And see how that flour is going to play nice, right? Let's turn them again. All right. Stand them on their end. Okay. Very nice. They're looking good. Flipping again. Other side. Beautiful. Okay, this batch is coming out. And second batch is going in. Excellent. Okay, so they look like they're starting to caramelize. What I've got here is a blend of some herbs and spices. I've got a quarter teaspoon of marjoram, a quarter teaspoon of thyme, a half teaspoon of tarragon, some shakes of some black pepper, half teaspoon of garlic powder, half teaspoon of onion powder, and a quarter teaspoon of allspice. And I'm just going to throw that in, and we're going to roast that a little bit with the vegetables, just to let it release its aromas. Okay, and now I've got 2 ounces of a red wine that I just happen to have open. Beautiful. And we're just going to scrape everything up off the bottom. That's what the red wine is for. It's going to add a little layer of complexity here. Notice how I didn't really put much salt except for seasoning the lamb. We're going to salt it later to taste. I'm guessing it's going to be about a teaspoon, maybe 2 teaspoons of salt. We don't know yet, but we'll figure that out later because we don't want it to be a salty dish. Okay. In goes the lamb. Okay, so now the lamb is in there. And now I'm just going to strain it just in case. But in goes the beef stock. Right? There's nothing really to be strained, but I just wanted to make sure. And 1 ounce of porcini mushrooms dried, and a 6-ounce can of organic tomato paste, and this should be no salt added. Okay, I'm going to put the whole 6-ounce can in. Right, and that should also help thicken it a bit. You know, I don't want to have to thicken the sauce. I think that all of the things I've done here is going to lend to a lovely gravy in the end here. So we should have, you know, fork tender meat on the bone, nice mushrooms in there, and a lovely thick gravy. Okay, so now once that starts to simmer, I'm going to put the lid on, and then I'm going to throw it into the oven. But first I want to get it up to the boil, right, a slow simmer, and then I'm going to take it off the stove and pop it in the oven. I want you to see just how, let me see if I get a little more light on it. No, that didn't help. I want you to see just how luscious that sauce looks. I mean, and this is just the beginning. Like, we just put this together. It didn't even start boiling yet. And like I said, it's going to spend about 2 hours in the oven. So this is going to be wonderful when it's done. I'm definitely going to serve this with a little bit of polenta and some acorn squash. You'll see in the end. It's going to be awesome. Right, it is time. Pop that oven open. You see how I've got everything cleared. Shut that top burner off. And we're going to put that stock pot right in the oven. Okay, 2 hours later, and we are going to have lamb shank braised to perfection. All right, so 2 hours have passed. I'm shutting the oven off, and you will notice that I took the lid off. I took the lid off about a half hour ago, and I'm going to get you a better look at that in a second. Okay, so there it is. I just took it out of the oven. Like I said, I took the lid off about a half hour ago, so it's been in the oven for 2 hours. I seasoned it with a 1.5 teaspoons of salt, and that's it. Let's take a look at that sauce. Right, look at how nice and rich and thick that sauce is. So that's going to be fantastic. And right now, I'm just making the polenta, which is going to be served on the side. All right, so here it is. There's your lamb shank, and I've got a little bit of acorn squash with the polenta on top with the gravy. Yeah, I'm just not good at plating this stuff, right? It's not that pretty, but I gotta tell you something. That lamb shank with that polenta is freaking awesome.